Hi, I'm John and I drive a John Deere, and I wired my home completely in John Deere green. It's the only wire I'll use. Now shortly after the fire I started staying with the Herbs. Let's bring him in so he could talk about this system that we're building and what this video is about. Hey guys, what my idiot friend was trying to say is I've been installing a giant SUNGOLD solar system in our house. Our old system was tiny, so SUNGOLD reached out to us and offered to send me a 10 kilowatt inverter and a 16 kilowatt hour battery. So I went ahead and bought a second one with help from our patrons and channel members. Thanks for joining, guys. And I bought 5 more 16 kilowatt hour batteries. So today we're nearing the end of our installation here. We've been going step by step, so that if you guys want to install a solar system in your own house, or if you want to install this system, I've got links down in the description for this inverter and this battery. And if you use code HERB, H-E-R-B, you can get a 5% discount on that stuff, so you can follow along and install it yourself. Thanks SUNGOLD for sending this stuff, and thank you guys for helping me buy the rest, the odds and ends and everything else. Now down in the description we have links for all the little tools and stuff. They're Amazon links. We make a small commission, helps out the channel. Speaking of channel memberships, we've got 2 tiers. We've got the stubby screwdriver and the 9-inch wrench. There's perks and benefits to both of them, and some of you guys have already joined. We really appreciate the love, you guys, and I see you out there. So check that out, and let's get started on this. Now the next thing I want to do is I've got to populate this box. I mean, I got to put 2 lines coming out of here because this is going to be our generator port, okay? We're going to hook that up into our AC inlet right there and right there. These are little guards, little grommets, and I left them in for this too, okay, for the DC cables, but we're going to take them out for here. So all you do is you push them down like that, and then they'll fall and they'll go somewhere where you can't get them. Once those are out, we can stick something like this. Pretend I removed the nut first. Stick something like that in there. Okay, and now we're using liquid tight. Not that we need liquid tight in here, but I just want easy to run, flexible conduit. So this is 3/4 inch liquid tight. And because we're running all our AC wires tightly in this, the magnetic field coming out of this shouldn't be bad. And then the other thing I'm trying to do is avoid long parallel runs with my DC cables, okay? For my AC inlet, I'm going to try to come down and then go back up and run as far away from parallel runs. Crisscrossing doesn't matter so much. And then go into that box. Okay, I've added a little bit of feng shui here because the glare from that window is really bad. Okay, you see that circle there? Just take the thing you want and you try out the different circles. It looks like it'll fit in here and here. It'll also fit over here, but I don't want to be in front of that outlet. Okay, see on either side it's got like a tiny little piece of metal left. We'll tap where that isn't. So I'm going to tap here and here and just work this out. Okay, so that's the smaller size, but we need one size bigger. Sometimes you got to rock it back and forth a little bit. Now we got a nice clean hole here. Nice clean hole. So now we're going to put in the fitting we want, and then we put our nut right here. Okay, now you can take a screwdriver and tap that nut around, or you can get a set of these. There's a link in the description. So let's pick 3/4. Here it is. They're labeled. They're magnetic, so they stick together. And these are offset. So now we'll just grab that lug. And it's just got a little hook. So we just grab that lug and wrench it on. Nice and easy. You don't have to go He-Man on this stuff. And you got another side, so in case you need to loosen one. Now if I wanted to loosen this one, I can just pull up, loosen it. See that? Now let's retighten that. So we don't have time to mess around. This box of liquid tight from Amazon comes with connections, but you may want to grab some more. I've got a link for extra connections down there. Okay, you guys, I want to give you a few tips. This cutter, I've gotten links, so we can cut it with this. This is a PVC cutter, but here's a little tip for you. Do you see that sharp point there? Make sure that that hits, and then don't let it crush. It's ratcheting, so it's clamped down, and just give it a little twist and let it cut in. Then go ahead and cut. And that will stop it from crushing your thing, and you'll get a nice round pipe. These fittings can be very difficult to get in there. Very stiff, see that? Especially if your pipe is cold. So let's take a heat gun and just warm it up. Now don't burn the pipe, but we're just gonna heat it up. I like to blast a little bit down the hole. Our fitting's in there. Super easy to do now. That was the wrong end, so let's put a end that we're gonna use here. So I'm just gonna slide my coupling. Okay, that's bottomed out. Now let's take our nut and tighten it up. Just stick this up through here, put our nut on. Now, before we tighten this, I'm just gonna leave it somewhat loose so that the cable can rotate a little bit. Because these things have a natural curve to them. So you let the curve do its thing. For clamps, I have 2 hole clamps. And for screws, we're just gonna use our number 10 that we've been using the whole time. I'm trying to keep this from running parallel with my DC for any amount of time. I actually would like it to be a little bit tighter. Wonder if this is where we use our elbow. Look at that. Now let's experiment with this run. And that's how it is, step by step. You just have to experiment to see what's gonna work. So let's run it behind all this stuff. We can use that. Let's see if we can use an elbow. If we use the elbow, we're gonna have to shorten the cable. It just blocks the adjacent hole. See that? So that's no good. Okay, so we'll use a straight one. We're gonna experiment with a straight one. That sounds weird. I am a straight one. Although I had a hernia exam, and that was weird. The dude, I don't know if he was trying to crawl in my belly, but it was awful. It felt absolutely awful. And I don't know if you guys know this, there's a little bit of cross wiring between your belly button and your balls. And so it was horribly painful. But also, man, I was squirming. I was trying to get out of there. But anyways, whatever. I've got to get, it turns out I do have a hernia. And if I didn't before, I definitely have one now because that dude did too much. Okay, went deep. All right, so there's that. That's what our cable would look like when it was done. It's all right. We might be able to go a little shorter. Let's take this out of the equation for now. And stick it up in the hole. Actually, looks like it'd look a little nicer if it was about that short. Oh yeah, that's the way to do it. At least for me. That makes my life easy. Now, if you went and laid it out in the sun, that might also do the same thing. I think that's the ticket. And I think we just remove this from the wall, run our wires through it while it's straight laying on the ground, and then bend it up. You know, instead of trying to fish wires through that, let's do that. We'll just make width. To charge the house with the generator, I'm gonna be using a standard twist lock. These are 30 amps at 240. We're gonna use 10 gauge wire and 30 amp breakers. Okay, so here's our breakers, and we've got 3 of them. Why do we have 3? Because we got 1 coming in and 2 going out. We're actually gonna back feed the breaker. This is what our rail looks like, our bus bars look like. Do you see this one? This is so that you can retain the breaker. Anytime you backfeed a breaker, you're supposed to put a retaining clip on there, okay? These things always have a little grease there for you. And it hooks into these little teeth here. See those? So we're just gonna hook that in, go back and forth, line up your pins, and just push it on. Okay, it's gonna go on pretty firm. Let's turn that off for now. You're going to have to get a breaker retainer bracket. Anytime you're backfeeding a breaker, so this power is gonna come out here and feed this one. It's not being used normally. You need to stop the breaker from falling off and shocking somebody, or them not knowing that it's a backfed breaker. Okay, in our kit is this, and a screw. So we're just gonna put this like this. Okay, I'm gonna use one of you guys. Our breaker retainer is in. Don't go too crazy with this. I can feel the post flexing. Now you can't remove that breaker. That's gonna be our feed, and these are gonna be our supplies here. There's 1, there's 2. Let's make the left one the left inverter. We should probably name these inverters. Maybe we'll name them A and B instead of master and the other word. Why is this one not going? There it goes. Okay, so down is off. Okay, so we got our breakers installed. Let's go ahead and put in a ground bar. Here's a ground bar kit. So we have 4 places we can mount these. You have here, see these 2 holes? Here, here, and here. This one's out. So do you see how this is not bonded? Do you see this long green screw? That's how you bond this panel. And what bonding means is tying your neutrals and your grounds together, okay? So if this was your main panel, you would drive that all the way in, and that would take, this bar would become a ground / neutral bar, right? And then you could run your ground to neutrals in here. And this would be a main panel. But you can only have your neutral and your ground bonded in one place in your system. So we're gonna leave this out because that is not our main panel. Our main panel is right here, okay? That's a sub panel. This is also a sub panel, okay? So we're not going to bond our ground to neutrals. Since we're not gonna bond our ground to neutrals, we need a neutral bar. And our neutral bar will be screwed to the case, which will bond the case, okay? We'll, ground it out. Don't be confused by that. You don't want your ground to neutrals tied in more than one place, because what happens is, let's say they're tied here, and they're tied in the main. Well, your neutral carries current back, right? Your hots give current, your neutrals carry it back. Well, if you bond your ground and your neutral here and there, now you have parallel paths, and your ground will be a current carrying conductor that can give you quite the tingle if you goof something up. So don't do that. No multiple ground neutral bonds. So we're gonna leave that green wire out. And if this was a main or principal, I think that's what prince means, by the way, is principal ruler. But anyways, I mean, that'd be a pretty small panel. You got 6 slots. But if this was a main panel, say that you had a standalone workshop somewhere and it had its own meter and you only have 6 circuits for some reason, then you'd go ahead and screw this in. So let's just pop this open. If we put it here, the wires are gonna be in the way, trying to run around here. So I'm thinking about putting it here. And because we're backfeeding a breaker and then we're feeding out from 2 other breakers, we're gonna ignore our lugs here. We don't need these anymore, any of these. So that's hot 1, hot 2, and neutral. We'll just turn them in so that they don't like fall down and create absolute chaos. Okay, here's the screws from the neutral bar kit. You're gonna notice that some of the screws are longer than others and they're smaller than the actual things, and that's because they push through and screw into the case. We couldn't use the stubby because it just didn't have enough reach. Sorry guys. Still a respectable tool. Okay, our ground bar is all attached. Now we have a basic idea of how we're gonna run these 2 gray ones. From here up to here is like 2 feet. On this end, we want 6 inches. Let's remove these gray lines and go run the wires through. Welcome to the workroom. Here's the work carpet. 30 amps. We're gonna be using 10 gauge wire. It's gonna be the wire that goes into that panel and out of that panel to the inverters. I'm 1 ring short of an Audi. I'm not talking about my belly button, I'm talking about the car. My wife thinks I'm obsessed with my belly button. Tell you, that doctor was obsessed. The problem is, babe, is that the belly button has wires crossed with your balls. So that doctor...
Do I need to go find her or something?
No, it was a guy. It was terrible. It was very confusing. Okay, so I think that's how they get you. So you go in for a hernia. The next thing you know it, you've got a lisp. Okay, so for 2 40 volt, we're gonna need a hot. We're gonna call line 1, line 2. They're each 120, but they're 180 degrees out of phase, so that's how you get 240. Now, if you want 120, then you go between one of these and neutral, which is neutral, so you get 120. And we're gonna need a ground for safety. And we're gonna need a white cat. Oh my gosh. Throw your hose out straight. I'm done with hose. The wife is upset. I'm talking about hose again. Gotta keep her guessing. Okay, we're close to the end, but it's fighting me. Sometimes bending this around will get the end loose. because I'm trying to get past the lip of this thing. Hey, babe, come here real quick. Okay.
What am I doing?
You didn't need any directions at all. Yeah, do that, but more, a little bit more than that. Like,
This is nonsense.
hang on, looks like it's coming through. Doing good, baby.
Ew.
It's almost there.
Stop.
Pull that. Okay. Okay. Now this side just needs 6 inches. Right, babe? Mm-hmm. More than enough. Okay, we have one of our whips ready to go. Let's do the other one, but this time, let's take off this fitting because it's causing me problems. So now it'll be the same thing, except for at the end, we'll shove the wires through this. Now we have our other whip. If you're gonna make holes in your wall to outside, you need to keep them small. Keep them sub-glory size, okay? AI is never gonna take my job. How could it make a mess like this? Let's go outside, we have to open that box outside. The heck? Something in that screw. Just my luck, huh? All right, just take that screw out for now and open our panel. Now, the reason why code wants you to keep this sub-glory hole size is so that if you're in, you know, if you're near one of these openings and you happen to be yawning, you know, you don't have something happen. Okay, say, okay, so this is a reenactment. You're just in your house and you're yawning and you hear a noise. It sounds like something inching your way. And then, wah! So that's what you're trying to avoid. Yeah, see, you could be yawning and then all of a sudden you're tasting the rainbow. Look at all these colors. Okay, hi, I'm John and I drive a John Deere. And my hair is also overgrown. So I had to put my hat on. What's Herb gotten into over here? I can only really see one of these wires and it's this green one here. The other colors mean nothing to me. Hey man, the inflation is tough. You don't cut off your taped up end anymore. You pull the tape off. Then you reuse the tape. Let's go ahead and strip our ends here. This stripper sucks or something. These are junk strippers too, dang it. I need to put strippers in the link for me. The first thing we're gonna do is connect our ground. It's right up here. This will ground out our chassis and our door. If you have OCD, you can't let that stand. Now let's knock that straight a little bit. I don't know why. I can't let that stand like that. Let's make sure their wire's tight. Let's make sure our wire's tight. And let's move on with our life. On the back here, we have W, X, and Y. W is white. W for white, that's easy to remember. X is your first one, X, Y, Z, right? W, X, Y. Okay. It's W, X, Y, G, but it rhymes with Z. Okay, so W, X, Y. So W is white. X is your first one. Well, most hot circuits are black, so use that one. And then Y is your second one. Secondary hot circuits are red. So that's the order you're gonna do it. So let's see if we've stripped this too far. Nope, it seems content to take it all. So I'm just gonna go in there, just short of my insulation, and let's tighten this up. And this is just using a number 2 Phillips. And it seems like a nice clamp style outlet. Like I said, there's a link for this in the description. People think I have some kind of motive when I'm giving out these links, you know, but it's not what you think. Those links make me money. I mean, like well, maybe it is what you think. But no, it helps you because you don't have to dig around thinking, look, and I tried all this stuff together. Seems to work so far. So a ton of research went into this. That's tight, that's tight, that's tight, it's tight. Make sure you don't pinch any wires. And our screw, I've got in my pocket here, it just had a little bit of sand in the tip of the screw. I don't know if the wind blew that in there. Okay, there's our box. Let's make up this box here. You know, it's a tight quarters we're in right now, so I'm gonna be in your way sometimes, but I'll give you peeks. Okay, here's our hot. Let's make that our left leg here. And then our left leg on each one will be black again, because these lugs come down every other one, right? The The breaker lugs are like that. With this being one phase and this being the other phase, and how you grab two phases, you use a double breaker. Look, just grab two phases, okay? And then this is the steeple, and open the doors, and here's all the people. Okay, so that's how that works. I like to leave myself a little wire, just in case something happens, who knows. I'm gonna give myself what you would call a service loop right here. But I don't like service loops to be in loops because then you get inductance. You'll create a changing magnetic field that changes 60 times a second. So let's cut that there, and we'll cut our red to match. When I wire this kind of stuff, I use nothing but green wires. John Deere green. Here's a little tip. Don't use your Phillips, your number 2 Phillips. This sort of fits. Use a number 2 Robertson for your electrical panels. So you use a square 2, or it's called a Robertson 2. Let me show you the tip here. Don't be scared. See how that's a square? That will fit all these lugs. And it's a million times less likely to strip out. You don't use ferrules on your breaker boxes. They're designed to work without them, with these coarse strand wires. Okay, so now we got our ground run. Okay, on the side of the breaker, this is your strip gauge. That's real size. So you just hold your wire up there, you strip it, and make it match that length. Perfect. Okay, so this is the one we want to feed. Like I said, we'll do our black one first. Let's open up our clamps. If you back off the clamps slowly, you'll feel resistance when they're all the way open because they mar the threads a little bit so they don't back all the way out. Now you can back them all the way out if you're really excited about doing that. Mistake after mistake around here. I want to take out the breaker first and then I'll... So we'll just stick our wire in here, like that. Make sure your wire's bottomed out, and clamp it up. Nice. Okay, those are tight. Our retainer back on, just like that. Anytime you have a screw into plastic, or anywhere really, go backwards till you feel it drop, so you don't cut new threads. Otherwise, you'll eventually just wallow out the hole. When you turn backwards, you'll feel it drop into the thread, like the beginning of a record. In the manual, they want you to use ferrules on your inputs, on all your inputs and outputs, okay? Because the way the clamp is designed. It's designed for these. Because in a lot of parts of the world, this is standard for any multi-strand wire. So our boxes are designed for multi-strand wire. There's argument that even these might benefit those, but whatever, for now, that's what you're supposed to do, okay? But on this side, manufacturer wants you to do this. So let's go over and take a look at the machine that crimps these on. So here's a tool. I got a link in the description for you. Here's our crimper itself. This is an interesting mechanism. It makes a square. Crushes anything into a square. Anything, so don't put anything in there. And you get all these ferrules here. Oops, so there's more down here. Dang it. Oh, and here's your chart. So it tells you what each size is for, what color they are. Okay, let's take a look. So we've got our end that's gonna go into the inverter stripped. That's how much we have it stripped. And that's perfect. Now let's take our crimper and stick it in there. This is what it does. So that when you put it in a clamp in the inverter, your wires don't go anywhere. They're in a nice little case. Now let's check to make sure we can't pull it off. Okay, we can. So let's try that again. If you look there, it's got a plus, okay? So I'm gonna remove this screw and we're gonna increase the clamping pressure. Let's go 2 notches. It goes 1 notch, 2 notch. Let's put our screw back so it doesn't move. Put our ferrule over a wire. Okay, that feels a lot tighter. That is a lot tighter. And we have a perfect square. Okay, so that's how you adjust your tool. Unexpected tune-up, but we got it all adjusted. Let's see what happens if you have it just a little bit too long. Let my blade rest against the ferrule. Yeah, so you can just trim the end of it, it's no big deal. Didn't deform the ferrule at all. These kind of tools here that don't allow you to release until it's all the way crimped, it relies on you getting to a certain pressure before it'll open to ensure that you don't under crimp it. Now, in an emergency, if you do need to get it open and you don't want to go down any further, say it's pinched you, you can pull this, can't remember if it's up. Oh, it's up. Pull that up and that'll release them. But there's a lot of tools like that. Wire crimpers, these crimpers, things like that. And they're designed to stop you from under crimping things by not letting you stop until you're done. Even on small stuff, if you just throw on your laser for a second, just going across the top bolt holes in my clamps here, it will make your work look a little bit nicer. So we'll screw that in right there. Problem is you gotta get out of the way of the laser for a second and then poke a hole. Then grab your drill with the hand you're not handed, at least not for drills. So it'll feel like somebody else is drilling it. I've been doing some experiments here. I've got a wire stuck in one of these clamps, okay? All the clamps on this machine are the same, okay, the wire connectors. So I pulled out the PV ones so I could see how they work, because they were the easiest to remove. We've got this one put in with a ferrule 10 gauge and pulling on it, and I cannot pull that out, like not with reasonable force. Yeah. So this is what the mechanism did to our wire. Okay, squished it. It was a square, remember? I'm trying to do it so you guys can see what's happening. You see the gate coming open. So there's our open gate. And it looks like a U-clamp that crushes it against the ceiling, which is actually better than the mechanism that we have on our circuit breakers. On our lower amperage breaker, it's just two things like that with the screw plate that crushes it, you know? Do you see how that works? And then you just stick it on either side, one or the other. I like to stick it on the left side so that the screw's kind of pulling it in as it goes instead of trying to push it out. Interestingly, as we go to larger breakers, we actually get a mechanism more like this one, where you need more clamping force. This is a 60. That other one you just saw was a 30. Where as I turn this one, we start to get a little gate or a little opening here that gets crushed, like almost fully enveloped. Okay, and that's similar to what we have here. These things are crimped on really good by our little crimper. You know, they're designed to stay there long enough for you to get it connected, but they rely on the pressure from the actual thing. And this is thin wall stuff so that it can be crushed. So anyways, just my 2 cents, guys. I've been working so much that the family, in order to spend time with me, has to come into the solar room. The solarium. Maverick?
He wants to touch all your stuff.
Don't touch my stuff, Maverick. You like farts? They're pretty funny, aren't they? Baby, do you like farts? Okay. First of all, let's open up all these things. I have an idea. I'll let the wire come forward here. There's a lot of space here. So we'll bring our wire forward, push it down so it's out of the way. Then we have some room to work and we have a little bit of flexibility. So that's gonna work really well. Now let's grab our ferrule, because this has teeth and I don't wanna mar the insulation. But that's gonna work great. Now let's just grab our drill, set on clutch number 1, and I'll check it by hand later. Okay, so line 2 is our next one. We'll bring her forward, and on top of that, what we'll do is we'll put a pre-bend in it. Look at that. We're learning every day, folks. If you were to try to just go straight up, you might put some stress on the terminals because you have such a short, stiff wire. Check the torque on all these by hand. You can see line 1, line 2, neutral, ground. Perfect. That's great. Okay, you guys, I'm in the ratting robe. So let's go check the traps. We had a problem with rats around here. This one's empty. Oh, look at this. Look at this big giant rat. You cannot be in here, buddy. We're gonna have to get rid of that rat. Wonder where the 6th one is. Oh, I put it in the plane because I had found a rat in this airplane. It's closed, See, and something had made a little nest in here, unfortunately. So, let's grab it. Okay, it's a mouse. These types of cage traps, I know how to set them with a hair trigger, and I capture things with them all the time. If we got anything, no, nothing. I made that myself. The first night I went on this mission, I caught like 5 critters. So we are narrowing this down. What are you doing, Maverick? You watching your caterpillar? There's the caterpillar.
He ate it with 2 pairs.
What are you doing? Now that we've got our generator inputs wired up and all that's done, that looks great. And this is how we've run our liquid tight along the bottom here. Okay, what I want to do now is let's remove this panel and cut the drywall out up top, because that's where we're going to have to go in with our large 1 1/4 inch conduit to feed from our combiner box into the top of our service panel. There's a temporary wire going into the top here, so we gotta be careful because this is all live right now. Our power station's feeding the house. Just use a box cutter. I don't want to use a saw because of the wires are live and well, I don't want to damage the wires, even if they're not live. Why is our board here? You probably cut this board out. Now these are all 12-2. They're white because prior to the late 90s, 12-2 and 14-2 were both white. Now 12-2 is yellow, and 12-2 uses 20 amps, and that's what I've got, 20 amp circuits. At first I saw the white and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to change all my breakers to 15s. But it is 12-2. So what's this? So I have never received my battery charger that came with the house. I have the manual now. Wonder how long that's been buried in the wall. It's got the wires pinched here through this metal knockout with no grommet or anything. But it wasn't likely to start a fire, so we had this tucked back there for some kindling. So we had a lot better odds. This is called a Sawzall. Well, if Milwaukee doesn't make it, then it's called something else. But being a Sawzall, this is included in the all in the name. So let's see if we can saw through here real quick. Let's see if we can find the nails on this side. If we cut into any of these wires, I just need to remember to jump off this metal ladder or be in the air while I make contact. Okay, there we go. Got our chunk of wood out. There was our 2 nails on the end. Okay, there's the rest of our wood. Now we have a clear hole here. So let's just push this dust down to the wall. There's all our knockouts, none of which are big enough, by the way. What we need to do is knock this out further and put a grommet or something in here to stop these wires from touching the metal. I don't like that. Otherwise, the wires are probably run fine. You just drilled through studs, and you're allowed to do that. Here's the wife and the kid.
He wanted to see what all the racket was.
What's going on? It's okay, Maverick. I'm just working. Hi. It's okay. What are you doing? You doing good, baby? I have to shut down the power, babe.
Okay.
For probably 10 minutes. Are you gonna be all right without power? Okay.
I'm full of power.
Full of something. So here, switching the side. And our power's off. So now we're safe. So let's go up here and knock out these rings. It's a good thing we didn't do that when we were sawing right next to it. They still have the knockout right here for some reason. So we'll pull that out first. Let's go ahead and try to clip that ring. Okay, let's try some tin snips on that ring. The ring has been launched into orbit. Now our wires have plenty of room to live here. Now I'll just put a grommet around here. Okay, this is 1 1/4 inch liquid tight. I ordered this off Amazon. There's a link in the description. And it comes with your fittings. It comes with several elbows, I think 5 or something. It comes with some straight fittings, 5. And it comes with the brackets, which is important because who has this stuff? Okay, so we got some of this stuff. I feel like Pamela Anderson fighting this thing. Like I'm Pamela Anderson on a boat, trying to fight with this stupid thing. Subscribe for all the latest references. That's not too bad either. Let's just cut that. On the smaller stuff, the 3/4 inch we've been using, it was fairly hard to get this on the nipple. Let's see if it's like that with this stuff. No, it's not. Okay, that's bottomed out. Let's screw this on. Put a pair of Knipex on here. Knipex, if you ever want to sponsor me, I'll stop calling these Harbor Freight things Knipexes. I always like to start my business deals out with extortion. Is that extortion the thing where you cause a problem and then you offer to solve it for a fee? I'm not sure. What we'll do to figure out our knockout situation is you take the fitting that you want to stick in there. We stick it right there, okay? And we see that this is a raised portion and that's a sunk portion. So we're gonna tap this way so we don't cut out this bigger one. So we're gonna push down on this one. If we wanted to knock out this one, we'd hit from underneath and knock out this bigger one. So let's push down on this one and get all that out real quick. Okay, there's our hole up there. Perfect. Not that hole. Not this one. Not that one. This one right here. That hole right there. Let's take a look here at this workbench. Just move this stuff. Anything that's horizontal around me becomes a workbench pretty quick. Okay, so these I picked up from Harbor Freight. You can also get them from Amazon. But this is our punch tool. But we take this threaded shaft, you put it through the knockout, the existing one. And if you don't have a knockout, you drill a hole in it and use step drill to get big enough for this. And we thread this on. You screw that till you get to the cup. Then after that, you screw this and it's got a thrust bearing to deal with all the crazy amount of thrust you're gonna get, okay? Right, babe? No. She said no. She's lying. She likes a crazy amount of thrust. Okay, so let's get this. I believe this is the right size. Let's double check. Here's one of our fittings. That looks great. So this is the right size. Shut off our power. Let's turn on your guys' light. That'll help me too. We'll just take out our coin here. Let's pull these wires out of the way. Now here's a bonus tip. You could take this to a gumball machine and get a free gumball. Let's go ahead and throw our tool up here. Fits through our thing just fine. Let's screw our punch through the bottom here. Okay, that's what it looks like. Here's a 15/16 socket. Let's punch that on there. And let's just start to tighten it. Okay, it's getting easier. Do I have to unscrew it all the way or can I pull it out through the top? I can pull it out through the top, right? Or do I have to unscrew it all the way? Why? Why put ribs on this for your pleasure? Because then I can't get it out. Maybe I could just pull it the rest of the way through. I could have read these instructions. Oh my gosh, does my thing not fit because I hammered it a little bit? Are you kidding me? There you go. You have to pull it all the way through, guys. I goofed up. You have to suck it all the way through, okay? And for my crimes, I ended up knocking out the one next to it too. This one got knocked out from the vibration of trying to push my tool back through. Oh, you know what it is? I cut out the weld. That's what happened. Because see how they're all on that one side? It's almost unavoidable. So I'll just put a plug there. It's fine. I should have read the instructions. I still haven't. I just wish I would have. There's our piece of panel. It cut it out perfectly. How cool is that, guys? It's way better than a step drill. Except for, like, I just didn't follow directions. You guys, if you get this, read the directions and then tell me what they say. After hitting it with a hammer, there's like a little burr somewhere. Oh yeah, see, I hit it wrong right there and burred that out just a little bit. I'm gonna have to take a file to that one side. It's not a big deal. All right, so I've never used this tool before. Probably won't need it again for 5 years. And when I do, I'll discover I need to file that. Future gift to me. Turned her power back on. That looks like it works right there. Put her fitting on. Put this there. It's about as good as it gets. Ooh, I forgot to power it back on. Make sure not to touch anything. So that's gonna be our main feed there. Went out to the shop and I dug around. And in a 5-gallon bucket, I found these. And so let's pull this out real quick. Look like it goes into there a little bit. Wonder if our thing will still go. Let's see if our thing is still. Oh no, that's inconclusive. Ooh, that fell through a live panel just now. That was brilliant. That could have been way more exciting than it was. Now we'll pop that in that hole. Okay, beautiful. Now we can stick this in there. There you go. And now you don't have a hole. Maverick has always done more of an army crawl. But we put him on the tile and the tile is cold. He doesn't want to put his belly on it. So this is his first crawl, and we gave him a flashlight as motivation. Wow.
You gotta go see it now. Don't give up on it.
Look at, it's one hand after the other. He's always done more of a drag himself along the floor, dragging his belly, but he's tried to let his belly touch the floor, he hated it. That's a crawl.
That's a crawl. He's always been an army crawler. But...
Yeah, now that's a real crawl because the floor was cold.
Whoa!
Wow.
That's amazing.
Look at that. Look at the back and forth. Do you see the legs going back and forth? He's doing it.
Whoa!
Don't let your belly touch the floor. It's going to be cold. So I've got my 2 lines run where I want them. I've got them run over here and into the AC out on this one and this one. Okay. So our AC out is going to come up over the top, go into our mixer box. Now we also got our line running from the top over into the top of our panel. So the hardest parts are just about over. Now, the reason why we didn't run the AC lines this way is it's kind of crowded over here. It's always been a tight spot, so decided to just go up and over, okay? Now, the next thing we need to do is I want to run my solar input. Now, they come with these oval holes. You see, I popped out the grommet on this one. So, for some reason, they have oval holes, and they're right next to the power switch, which is inconvenient. I wish they'd have moved this power switch forward and made that a round hole, but it is what it is. Only did one side, look. Now we can stick that in there, our oval hole, and we can fit our nut. There, that's my solution to those. And it still grabs really strong. The nut still works just fine. So I'll just do that for those 2 holes. Because we got these oval holes here. Fit 2 fingers through, like that. Okay, let's pull our solar box back off the wall. It's just these screws here that hold it on. Okay, this is gonna be our solar box. Let's pop these open. These are little double pole solar breakers. Wow, DC breakers. Let's see here. They can break 1,000 amps. And I wanna say they're 32 amp breakers, okay? Our system, I think, can accept around 23 amps. So this will stop any nuisance trips. You always want to go a little bit bigger then you need to stop nuisance trips. All right, so there's our terminals, there's our screws, and it mounts on this little rail here, and they give you screws to mount that. And that little rail conveniently screws into this box. That's what it's made for. We'll just screw that right there into our box. Here's our other one. It's a very nice brand called Shitoxi. Household name. That looks like the middle to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that is the middle. Perfect. Our rails are mounted. Okay, they just push down on the rail. So one side will hook up, the other side will latch. And then to release them, you take a flat head from the front and you pull that up to release it. That's it. Okay, so let's snap those into place. So we'll hook up the top, push down the bottom. See our latch is coming out. There. But rail mounted breakers are nice because you put in a rail and then you can organize your breakers. We have 4 MPPTs, okay? Well, we only have 2 breakers right now because we only have enough solar panels to really make use of 2 MPPTs. So later on, we could simply add another breaker here and another breaker there. We're going to want to make our holes a little bit biased towards the front of the box because where it's tucked in our corner here, we've already got lines running underneath it, okay? So I'm going to want it coming forward a little bit so it can go in front of this stuff. So, and look in the corner here, it's even worse. So let's come in 1.5 on this side. Let's come in 1.5 on this side. And we'll just make our 2 ports there. Now I'll do the same thing on the other end. I'll dangle the feet off the edge. Okay, we got our 2 pilot holes. I'm not so sure what's special about pilot holes. I'm a pilot. It's called a step drill. Originally used them to make steps, I think, so why they're called that. But as you go through each of these levels, you can get bigger and bigger holes. We can go just a little bit more. It fits, but barely. That's what she said. Okay, let's, and then I pulled out a step drill and then we stopped talking. Okay, so that goes in there just fine. So I'm going to do that all the way around. Okay, so I have an idea. Normally what I do here, I'm trying to figure out where this bend is going to be, this one right here. I know that it fits really natural about where that red cable is. If we measure that distance between the red cable and our hole here is about 2¼ inches. Now, the reason why I want to do that is, I wonder if I cut 2¼ inches off the tip of this, right? Then does that 2¼ just end up being off of here because the more of it gets rolled up? So let's try that. There's our 2¼ off. Okay. You guys impressed? And let's see if it naturally fits. That works. Yeah, that works pretty good. So I'll put my end in there. So let's put some lube in here. Okay, now to smear our Milwaukee brand lube, we have to use a Milwaukee brand pin. I only use Milwaukee tools. I don't use any other brands. Just pick a good brand and stick with it. Now let's see if this lube helps or not. No heat. Barely doable. Okay, there. I still like the heat, maybe in addition to the lube, because what a pain in the butt. I like that. Okay, now we got our run down there, going over there. Now this one, now I did something sneaky here. I used an elbow, and because I can key these now, instead of spinning them in, I could use an elbow here now. And what I did was I ran it in front of these, there's a gap, and then behind those, and then over there, and in order to get that S shape, I just added heat to it, and then tightened it up in place, and then let it cool. So we'll see if it takes on that shape. Here's our thermal formed liquid tight. So it looks like our set worked. There's one more run we need to do. From the top of here, I drilled both these holes, but I'm only going to use one. I drilled the other one so that when I put in the ground mount, I don't have to like pull down this box. It's all wired in to do it. I could just pull more wires. We could throw a cap over this or set our beer up here to cover that hole. But so let's run a line from here, and we got to connect up there to our unit, our thing up there. But what we're gonna do is, I've got some metal pipe, so let's use that. And where it comes down, where it used to go into the old box, before it has its kick out, we'll cut it. And so it's just a straight pipe. Over here, we added a lot of thickness to the wall. You can see it there. Plywood and then sheetrock. So I've got to cut our pipe down so that it fits there. It used to fit perfectly. So if we measure here, we should be able to take off 1.5 inches and it will fit perfectly once again. I'm just gonna use our step bit to deburr this. Now I'll take off any sharp burrs because we don't want the wire getting torn up. Okay, let's cut off this curved part because we don't need that. Now we gotta figure something out because this box is gonna go here. It's gonna be on the same wall as this. So the problem is that we got part of a kick here. Woke up the baby with the sawing. You okay, baby?
He's cool now because he sees that it's just work.
It's just noise. That's how I feel about work too, is I start crying. Okay, here's an interesting thing is that this end is hooked already, but we need to do a kick on this, but it would require this hook to be face down, but how am I gonna do that? Second of all, I've never done a kick before, and I only just found this conduit bender the other day, like 6 months ago, and it happens to fit. I have just the one, and I've never used it. So we have everything stacked in our favor, which is good. Just as luck would have it, I never buried the septic all the way because I was planning on putting extensions, but then life got in the way. So it's perfect. This is strategic. Like I said, I've never done any of this before, so you're welcome to make fun of me. I've got the end of that pipe stuck in that hole. If you're gonna start learning EMT, start with 1 inch. Just be a man. Start with one that's already bent the wrong way. Okay, you see what we got there. I think we're neutral there. I want a little kick on there. You electricians that do this might be cringing right now. That feels pretty good. Okay, now our tail can go up in the air. Now we got our tail in the air. Let's put a little kick this way. So that piece is about level. I'm just guessing at this. So let's see what we got. This is what we got. Okay, so this is the pipe that was up there. Let's see if it'll go back. Perfect. Let's tighten up our coupling here. We're using a number 2 Robertson. I don't love that it's pushing this conduit forward. It's just pushing this forward a little bit, which is pushing these out of alignment. Doesn't look as nice as it did a little while ago. I just don't know if you could sit there and just worry and worry and worry about little details like that. The toxic version of me thinks I could do a kick in that corner and go up a couple inches. With a 4-inch offset. Probably only want to do a 3-inch offset. Would 3 inches be enough to clear this issue? Yes. Why do I think like that? What kind of pain in the ass would that be? So as soon as I could out of this corner, that would have to go up and offset. And about a 3-inch offset would be great. This is the guy who's never used a bender. The arrogance on this guy. What are you doing, Buster? Earlier today, Buster ran out the door and I couldn't catch him because he was hiding from me. Now he's come slinking back. Well, 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 Buster. Come on, Buster. Whatever, Buster, you can be a butthead. That looks pretty good. Let's bring this up. Okay, now we've got this. So that goes on the wall. We want to get a couple inches, 3 inches of offset. Go about right there. But what goes there? Now I got to be off. I got to hang this off a cliff again. Say I took it to the star. It's about a 4-inch offset. Let's go about a little bit less than that. Make sure that we're not in a million dimensions. See what we got. That looks like about a 3-inch offset to me, maybe a little bit less. We're trying new stuff today. I'm giving my pipe a slight bow. Pulled on it too hard. Be careful about that at home. It's fine. I gotta move forward. Moving forward. Is it a little bit much with the offset? But hey, worked out. It's my second bend. So now it goes, has a kick out there, and it has this turn that goes out there, then it has a kick out here that I did. There's a knockout there, and there's the size we need to come out with. So let's just knock out these two. Okay, when we go to tighten up our ring, I don't know if you noticed what kind of racist thing Klein's got going on here, but the smallest one is yellow, this middle one is off-white, and the biggest one is black. But let's not look into that at all. First thing we do is put on our fitting, angle this one down a little bit so I'm not scraping knuckles with the ceiling. Let's take our box. Oh my gosh, that slides on there perfectly. Man, I'm so happy the way that kick turned out and that offset. Oh, I am like super happy with that, man. I want to show the wife my pipe. Here we go. Get rid of that kid. Just kidding. So look at this. So this pipe goes like that, right? But it was hitting my stuff right here.
Yeah.
It's hitting this stuff. So I had it jet upwards. See that? So it has to go up and then over, and then over here I have it kicked out so it meets the box.
Is it permanent?
Yeah, it's all done. What do you mean?
Looks good.
Yeah, so that was my first time doing offset. You see that as a 4-inch offset, or wow, 3.5 or something. I tried to lie again. Well, but
Very fancy.
yeah, all right.
So long.
Yeah, well, then I'm gonna have a coupling go in there and then go into my solar box.
How'd you make it silver?
It was, okay, get out of here. This is why you have to show, if you want attaboys, it's gotta be from men. Because the women just look and they go, it's always been like that. Even though I forged this from the fires of Mordor myself, the wife doesn't care.
It looks good.
Okay, guys, we gotta leave the project here for this week. Like I said, there's our setup there. Cool, I'm super happy with all the stuff we got done. There's a lot of, you know, how the hell am I gonna do this kind of stuff going on, but we got it figured out. Really don't have a whole lot left. We gotta run our communication cables, which is nothing, just like little comm cables. And then we gotta run the inter-battery comm cables, which is nothing once again. So we've got all that stuff. I just had to get a few odds and ends from the Home Depot. So, all right, I'll see you guys a little bit later. I gotta edit this video tomorrow and release it the day after.